Yo, check this out. This is Christopher Kid Read, Kid Play. You're here with Taboos, Comics and Kicks. Let's go!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Taboos, Comics and Kicks. And as I lace my white Jordans today, I thought about greatness. I thought about icon. I thought about MVP. And the guest that I have today is definitely a most valuable player because of his consistent work ethic, his humor, his consciousness, his ability to have fun, from cartoons to hit records to movies to stand-up comedy. I mean, the list goes on and on to survivorship. This man has set the tone for me as a friend, as a brother, as an inspiration. The fact that he went to Bronx High School of Science, which is an Ivy League high school. And then he also went to, he got a BA in English from Lehman College, right? Is that the word?
Lehman.
Lehman.
Yes.
Tomato.
Right.
The genius is so present. The fact that he's a iconic figure in hip hop, as a dancer, as an MC. I'm honored to have this man today. We've been trying to lock him down, and he's been like, yeah, we're going to get it, Tab. So today is very special. The man that I'm talking about is the iconic, the motivator, the inspiration, the one and only Kid from Kid and Play, hey, Christopher Reed.
Hey, where you at? What? Talk about it.
AKA the Tin Man. The Tin Man.
Yeah, that's right. AKA Tin Man. Man, what a... That was a hell of a resume, man. I felt like a eulogy. And here he went to the Bronx High School of Science. Yes, he lays here.
No, man, that was just me loving higher education. Yeah. You know, because
really?
Because my son, we're in college touring right now. We just came back from Berkeley. Shout out to my boy Seth for leading the way because he's from Boston or from Massachusetts, and he gave me all the great places to eat at.
You're talking about Berkeley School of Music in Boston?
Bro.
Okay,
yes.
Okay, I thought you were talking about up top.
No, Berkeley. With the double E.
Berkeley.
Double E.
Yeah.
We did USC Thornton School of Music. Shout out to them. But ultimately, higher education is very important. So.
Totally. Yeah. That's what's up. Yeah. How's it like as a dad? Huh?
It's powerful because I was a young parent. I started my career at 19, never got to go to college. I was the guy performing at the colleges when everybody was going to class.
Yeah.
I was the class act, pun intended. And it made me feel like, man, I wish I could have felt what it was like to be a college student. But it's okay, all good. Now my kid is going to be the first gen to be able to attend college.
Well, congratulations on that, man. You right? You got him there. Okay.
Yeah. So let's start at the beginning. I want to hear about the Sears crew because the Sears crew is synonymous with greatness because there's a lot of people that came out of that crew. Let's start with that.
Right. So I assume you're talking about back in the days when at one time or another, the whole entire crew worked at Sears and Roebuck on the telephones. We were selling like maintenance agreements. So that would be Play,
boom,
myself,
boom,
Herbie Love Bug,
what?
Salt-N-Pepa,
right?
And toward the end, Martin Lawrence also worked there as well. So at one time or another, within a short period of time, some of us worked there at the same time. Some of us got fired. We all end up getting fired at some point. Shout out to Sears Roebuck for the firing.
Right.
I think it worked out for us.
Yeah.
But we just kind of, and this is before anybody blew up or anything. You know, this is when we were all like really young in college or not, or just kind of hanging out. And it's kind of weird that we all ended up getting famous behind that. So,
but that time period, who was taking lead on the music tip? Was it Herbie?
It was Herbie.
Okay.
Yeah, Herbie was our Svengali in a good way. You know what I mean? He was Diddy before Diddy.
Or
no Diddy.
For us, DJ Motivate.
Yeah, totally. Was that for you?
That was, for sure.
Yeah, somebody has to, because to be honest, we were all kind of doing different things. I mean, Cheryl and Sandy, Salt-N-Pepa were in school. I was in college, or I had, I think I was still in college. Play was out doing whatever the hell Play was doing at that time. He was
being a player.
He was. He was doing a lot of that, being a player, hustling, whatever. Herbie was the only one that had stuck with the music, had gone to school to learn engineering, had bought equipment, and was producing and stuff like that. And then he's the one that ended up, creating Salt-N-Pepa, putting Cheryl and Sandy together, and on from that point. But Herbie was the driving force. He was the one that taught us how to write songs and to perform. And then everybody else kind of had their own kind of superpower. I mean, Salt-N-Pepa obviously was Salt-N-Pepa, and they brought all that energy and specialness to the table. Play was always our artistic eye. He was the guy that was coming up with all the artistic concepts and logos, and designed the Salt-N-Pepa logo and all of our stuff, and designed the Salt-N-Pepa jackets that they wore from back in the days.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And then, Kwame came up under us as well.
Shout out to Kwame.
Shout out to Kwame. He was a little bit younger, but, he was on the scene. He hung out a lot with Herbie's younger brother, Stevie. So, but everybody was on the scene, and everybody kind of helped one another during those early years when they were recording. We're all kind of in the studio, and did we need somebody to sing a little something? I might jump in there, or a little rhyme here or there, or everybody in on the hook as a crowd, or as a chorus, so to speak. So, it was a really great time. Not a lot of money was being made, but a lot of fun was being had. And I think that's what kind of, that's where we learned. You got to learn somewhere. And a lot of it was learned in the studio that was made out of Herbie's father's garage. And that's where we learned how to be great.
I mean, it reminds me of, the Native Tongues, bringing these different crews, super crews together to create this beautiful family.
Sure.
I want to know more about the idea of how Salt-N-Pepa, they were the first ones to take off, right?
Yeah, they were.
And then what was the conversation between you and Play? Like, yo, we got to be next.
Well, this is how it kind of went. And it's one of those things like everybody has a take on it. You know what I mean? Because we're looking at it from different perspectives.
Right.
So if you talk to all of us, then you probably get the full version. The way I looked at it, Herbie was the driving force. Herbie created Salt-N-Pepa. Herbie blew up Salt-N-Pepa. Yeah. And then I think there was a time when Play and I, we were obviously in the crew, in the family, but I think we had a notion to try to do our own thing for a time. So we went off and we started doing our thing that was not that successful. This is even before we were called Kid and Play.
What was the name of the crew?
The name of the group was called Fresh Force.
Wow.
Because, in the 80s,
Everything was fresh,
mid-80s, everything was fresh.
Yeah.
If you wasn't fresh, much like your Virgil Abloh Nikes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Game recognized. Game.
Yes, sir.
But what I'm saying is we were the Fresh Force, and we actually were signed to Sutra Records, which was actually the label of the Fat Boys at the time. So the label had a little, shout out to, are any Fat Boys left?
I'm not sure.
I think you got one Fat Boy left. Buffy definitely passed away. Mark passed away. So I think
and then
passed away.
What's
Kool Rock-Ski.
Kool Rock-Ski. Yeah,
Kool Rock-Ski. Shout out to Kool Rock-Ski. They were on that label. So Sutra was, you're kind of a well-known hip-hop label. But we just never really had any success with that. We had a couple of records out. And at that time, what cats were doing was they were hopping on to whatever fad was out there. So for example, if there was a hit record, then you tried to make like an answer record, or a record that kind of latched onto that record.
Like Roxanne.
Yeah, the kind of that vibe. For example, the big record out at that time was Run DMC, My Adidas. My Adidas.
Yep.
Right. So we did a record called She's a Skeezer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, that's dope.
Well, at the time, we figured like, you know what I mean? We talk about, yo, Skeezer, so you all on my meat, and this nigga on down that street, Skeezer. Man, she a dirty hoe, and everybody's back, and everybody know my Skeezer.
It's just kind of dope,
Don't
bro.
forget this.
Yeah.
Right, go back and listen to that. You'll be like, wow. Right. I don't know if it's aged well.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of tip we were on. Not very creative, but it was, what we were doing at the time.
Yeah.
And when that kind of vibe kind of ended, that wasn't really having a success, we kind of were back out there on the market, so to speak. And it was almost a situation of, I think at that time, Salt-N-Pepa were blown up and doing their thing big time, major tours and selling records and stuff like that. And it was almost like a coming home kind of thing. You know, Herbie actually had some time because, you know, his time was quite valuable. You know, when you're the lead producer of the thing, you know what I mean? People kind of, you know, if you're a Dre or if you're a Herbie or if you're a Diddy or, you know, that type of stuff, your time is limited and people have to wait their turns. And sometimes people get a little impatient. I think that's what happened with us.
Right.
But we kind of end up back at the ranch. And because of the success that Herbie had with Salt-N-Pepa, all the independent labels in New York City were on him. Like, yo, who you got next? Who you got next? And he was like, well, I got these guys. It was like, well, who are these guys? And that was us. That was Kid and Play.
Yeah. And the first song off of that was My Way?
No. The first song we did, first of all, we got together. We're not Fresh Force. We threw Fresh Force in the bag,
right?
In the bag of garbage. The Fresh was no longer fresh. It was quite stale. It was quite funky.
Yep.
So to the wayside, and we became Kid and Play, which was shortened versions of our original MCs names: Kid, Cool Out, and Playboy. Shorten them, make it simple, like Salt-N-Pepa, Kid, Cool Out, and Playboy, Kid and Play, bang. Here you go. Signed us to Select Records, home of UTFO, later home of Chub Rock, later home of Real Roxanne. So Herbie signed us to Select Records. The first record we did was a song called Last Night. Last night changed it all.
Classic.
I really had a ball. About two guys on a double date and the adventures that ensued and that type of stuff. So that was actually our first single. And we didn't have an album at first. I mean, back in those days,
it was just singles.
Yeah, we had 3 singles in order for them to think us worthy of having an album. We 3 hit singles, and finally they said, "Hey, you guys might make it. Here's a measly budget for an album."
Was it dancing or MCing first for you?
It was MCing.
Okay,
MCing, but Play and I, being really tight friends, were always out at the clubs, and just the dancing vibe that was out there, you know, and also too, just being guys that wanted to meet girls, you know, you just kind of had to kind of motivate, and you know, that was attractive to them, and so, you know, we were young and you know, and supple, if you will, so we would get busy on that tip. So they kind of came hand in hand, but I think for me personally, I definitely led with the mic, with the lyrics, that type of stuff. But the dancing was just taking over in New York at that time. So you wanted to be a part of that. And thankfully, you know, it just felt natural.
I want to give a shout out to all the MCs that dance. Big Daddy Kane, Scoop and Scrap, right? You had Big Daddy Kane, Scoop and Scrap. You had Heavy D and the Boys. You had Def Jeff and the Soul Brothers. If
you remember, I mean, so many, it was almost a requirement. All the MCs from that era, you're talking about late 80s. You know, if you're talking about 87, 88, you know what I'm saying? At that particular time, if you came out at that time, you had to have some kind of dancing element.
Choreography.
If you weren't doing it, then you had a crew that did it behind you, kind of deal. Just dancing was just ever present. And you know, and I guess that kind of, you know, that was something that kind of filtered out, you know, all over.
Well, it made us, Black Eyed Peas, let us know, like, you could be a dope killer on the dance floor as much as an MC that will kill it on the microphone. And, you know, people kind of strayed away from it because of the success of MC Hammer. But when Hammer first came out with Pump It and freaking Let's Get It Started and Turn This Mother Out, his dancing was impeccable.
Totally.
And, you know, I got love for Hammer, but it just went somewhere else. I always looked at people like yourself and Big Daddy Kane, that it made me feel like, okay, it was cool to dance. And then once Ice Cube said, I'm sick of those the dancers. I was like, oh man.
So the dancers with the funny haircuts. Yeah. Just because he couldn't dance. You ever see Ice Cube dance?
Shout out to Ice Cube.
You ever see Ice Cube dance? No disrespect. I love Ice Cube. Have you ever seen Ice Cube dance?
No.
I rest my case.
But
no, he doesn't like dancing.
No, that time period was so infectious because you had music, you had great people like Kwame and Salt-N-Pepa. The go-go sound. Where did that come from?
Wait, before I forget, because you brought Ice Cube up. The funny part is, okay, Kid and Play were actually on tour with N.W.A. Okay?
Oh.
All right. This in '89. This is '89.
Where's this at?
This was we were on tour with them. It was Eazy-E, N.W.A, DOC, Too Short, Kid and Play.
Kwame?
Kwame was on that.
Kwame talked about that, right?
Yeah.
Kwame?
He was on some of those dates, and JJ Fad.
Yep.
And so we were all on tour. I mean, Kid and Play and N.W.A. It just feels right.
Right? It's true.
So at first when they approached us with it, we was just like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
We was just like, that's gangster rap. That's not us. We kind of thought it was like two different audiences, but it really wasn't like that at all. And when we got out there, and then also too, there was still like an East-West Coast not beef or anything, but there was like there was a wariness of the other side because we didn't really know each other.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But once we got out there and we kind of hanging out and this and that, and we were just like, yo, well, these, they're cool like us. And, they like to chase girls like we do. They shoot pool, they this and that, you know what I mean? And we became friends to the point where, we still got love, to this day. But it was interesting because back in those days, and it's another reason why Play and I used to tour a lot with Public Enemy. A lot of times they needed Kid and Play and groups like us to kind of balance what was going on. Groups like Eazy-E and N.W.A. and Public Enemy were so controversial. Chuck D used to call us, before every summer tour because he knew that helped to balance it out. It helped them get insurance. It helped them get into arenas to show that they had a balanced lineup. So, that's what that was. But around February, before the summer tour, you'd get a call from Chuck D. Hey, we gotta get you on the tour. I'm like, all right, Chuck, we need to go with more and more. All right, Chuck, come on, we got to get the Kid and Play. We gotta get you on the tour. All right, Chuck, we're coming.
We're coming.
Yeah, we're there.
We're coming.
Sounds like the Black Eyed Peas.
All right, Chuck, you gotta come on tour raw.
Yeah.
Raw.
Dude, classic. I actually toured with Chuck D and Flavor on Smoking Grooves tour. So we were kind of like that in the sense of you got Cypress Hill, you got MOP, you got freaking Wyclef, and then you got Black Eyed Peas, the dancer kids from LA, which is kind of
Chuck
dope.
always understood that. He understood the balance, and Chuck loves hip hop in its entirety. You know what I mean? Every bit of it. Every rotation of it, every wave of it, and he understood that, and he had us on the tour. But as far as the Cuban and was concerned, like I said, we toured together, we got to know each other, and it was stuff like that kind of on the undercurrents before that stuff. Then the stuff really blew up after that, like the rivalry and the beef.
Later on.
But we never had no beef. I mean, Play and I, we never had no beef coming out to LA. Nobody was ever like trying to extort us like they was doing some of these other rappers. We never had no beef. We would come out and I don't know about if we had to like check in or what they say motherfuckers got to do now. I don't know about all of that. But, we showed respect. We showed respect when we came out here. And I don't know, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Who do we got beef with? Like Kid and Play? Like who you jumping Kid and Play? Who you jumping next week? The Easter Bunny? Like what are you doing? Like know what I'm saying? So true. we was always cool with everybody. Man.
It's true because you guys set the tone for people to dream, adventure, humor, fashion, because you guys were so fashion forward. You with the high top fade, Play always was dripped out with his suits. Even the sneaker game, you guys have always been very crucial on your branding and how you put stuff together. And that's kind of what inspired me personally. And I know Will would say the same thing, but like seeing your music videos, like getting funky, and it was all about celebrating the art form of dance. The music was dope.
By design.
And that, for us, that's kind of how we tailor-made our earlier work. Joints and Jams was like, here's our song. Here's a creative way for us to show you how we're getting sucked in with this metaphor with the video. But at the end, we're going to show you how we get busy on the dance floor.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and to your point, this is the thing. I mean, people call it branding now about everything is very pointed and everything is very specific and purposeful. Man, it's just how we got down. Yeah. It's what they call curating and branding now, man. But it's just, like when y'all first started, y'all was just like, yo, this is, you know what I'm saying? You ain't sit down for hours. You're just like, yo, man, boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
This is what we rocking today. You know what I mean? Yeah. And this is the funny part. And I'm not sure if you experienced that when you guys were coming up. Like, there was a thing, like when we were coming up in terms of your fashion and the way you dance and everything like that, the goal was not to have everybody look like you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We look like this.
Yeah.
We're the cool kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? There was an exclusiveness that we wanted. But what that turned out being, that turned out the opposite way. People really wanted to be like that and look like that and move like that and dress like that. But initially, you know, as we were coming up, even when we were kids in our own neighborhood, our thing was like, well, I got something you don't got, you know, or I put this together. Like, don't put it together like this, because you biting my shit type shit. But I get it now. It's evolved into people doing it really purposefully on the way in, and I get it now. But back then we didn't really give it that much thought.
Right. Same. I mean, to your point, like we didn't have money, so we had enough money to go to the thrift store. Yeah. And we're like, yo, how do we put these funky, fresh, whatever gear together? You got the dope kicks, but you also have this funky flair in the 90s that not a lot of kids were rocking. A lot of kids were rocking something different. And we're like, nah, we're going to go against the grain because we don't have that much money. So let's go to St. Vincent's thrift store and put some shit together. So that was our philosophy as Black Eyed Peas, and it ended up working out for him. They called us the funky bohemian rap crew from LA because of our aesthetics.
And because they feel like they have to label you something.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But that moment of nostalgia and the essence of what you guys built, did that lead you to the cartoon first or the movie? Which came first?
The movie came first.
Okay.
The movie came before the cartoon.
Yeah.
And the movie came about because of the success that we were having as Kid and Play, as recording artists, and in particular, the types of videos we were doing at that time.
Getting
the
funky,
videos,
My Way.
Do this
Rolling
My
with Kid and
Way,
Play.
Rolling with Kid and Play, Getting Funky. Just very playful, upbeat, colorful, just a whole lot of fun. And were very popular at the time. And at that time, I was hanging out in the clubs, and a cat named Reggie Hudlin would run up on me in the clubs all the time.
Shout out to Reggie.
At that time, he was a video director, and he would step to me in terms of wanting to direct our videos. And at the time, we had a guy that we were really satisfied with. So there really wasn't a place for that. But, he was cool. I would run into him occasionally. And then one time I ran into him, and he started telling me about a movie script. And he said, oh, I got a movie script I'd like you guys to read, and blah, blah, blah. It might be right for Kid and Play. And so we kind of hooked from that. And, I told Play about it. I told Herbie about it. And at that time, like I said, back then, everybody kind of had a job, or a superpower or something like that. So anytime that wasn't the first time we had gotten a script, but typically when we received the script, they would say, yo, tell Kid to read it. You know what I mean? It was my job to read shit. So,
Ivy League school, Kid will read it.
I could read. I could decipher But anyway, so they say, "Yo, Kid, read it." You know what I mean? Read it and tell us what is. Break it down, and we'll go from there. And so, like I said, I had read some scripts that had been submitted to us previously, and they were like really kind of corny and not really, just didn't grab me at all. But the original House Party script was different. There was something about it. The structure, it was really well written and foundationally and structurally very sound in a way that didn't seem as corny as some of the previous things that I had read. And if I had to put it on a scale, I would say on a scale of 100, I was like, and this is what I told Herbie and Play. I said, yo, it's like 70% there. And I'm saying that to say, yo, we could take it the rest of the way. I say with our juice at that time, with our flavor, with our audience that we would bring to it, the legitimate hip hop that we would bring to it, I felt like we could get it to where it needed to be. And that's what I did. That's what I told them. So then we sat down, we had a few meetings, and some improv audition stuffs in a tight ass office on 14th Street. And I remember one time we went in there and we did like some improv in front of Reggie and his brother Warrington, who was producing, and some of the then executives at New Line.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that we felt that we did that good. So, we were about to leave, and then I think one of the not the executives, but one of the people that work at New Line was like, "Hey, man, guys, I'll walk you guys downstairs." And they were walking us out, and this is right about the time school was letting out, right there on 14th Street, 14th and 8th, I think it was at the time. And so when we got out there, man, it was like a bunch of high school kids that had just gotten out of school. And man, you'd have thought the Beatles got back together, man. These kids start going buck wild and shit like that right in front of this guy from New Line. So the guy from New Line, he's like seeing this shit in real time. He's just like, yo, like these motherfuckers is hot.
Right.
Like, what is going on? Like, you know what I mean? To kind of see. So he kind of hustled back up and say, yo, you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't think that's just the one thing that put us over the top.
But it helped.
But I think, we were good. I mean, we were good enough. Reggie and Warrington wanted us. Mm-hmm. And, I guess the part was convincing you, the New Line or whatever like that. But anyway, with all that said, it came together. And I think, we were skeptical. I don't think we really felt like it was real till we like landed in LA. And we were like, then we kind of I kind of looked at each other. We were like, holy shit.
That's
like,
dope.
I guess we got to do a movie. Yeah. So,
and you had some titans, some comedy titans, from Robin Harris, rest in peace, to John
Witherspoon.
John Witherspoon. Yeah. Then this is the first time. No. She was in School Days. Actually, this is the second movie that I saw Tisha Campbell in.
Tisha,
right?
Yeah, it wasn't Tisha's first movie. You're right. School Days was before that. Actually, Tisha was the most experienced actress or actor out of all of us.
Shout out to Tisha.
Shout out to Tisha, and she was a blessing because she helped. I know she helped me. She and I obviously had a lot of scenes together. Yeah. She sure helped me out and taught me how to be a professional. And I definitely watched her and learned from her. But yeah, I mean, but except for Tisha, for a lot of us, it was our first movie, and including the director, including the producer, including a lot of people that worked on that film, and so it was a really wonderful, joyous, curious kind of time.
That was the first time Martin had been on the screen, right?
No, that's not true. Martin had been in Do the Right Thing.
Do the Right Thing, yeah.
And he was definitely on the rise, but not a whole lot of experience, but definitely he was on the rise, and he had a great energy, and we, like I said, we kind of knew him a little bit tangentially from New York, from the Sears days, and he also had worked at the gas station across the street before. At Sears before he came over to Sears. So yeah, but we knew him a little bit as well. So it was everybody kind of coming together once again, like we did musically, helping one another. A lot of times when someone else was shooting, the rest of us would kind of hang out, be supportive, in between takes, maybe suggest a line or two, like try this or try that. And Reggie being, a great director and a great creator and a great director knows when to accept some creativity from his actors. Yeah. And Reggie did that very well. A lot of times he told us, he would give us the goal of the scene and say, hey, this is what we're trying to do in this scene. This is where we're trying to get to. Now these are the words. If there's a way to say it the way y'all would say it, or the way it's a little bit hipper, or it resonates, you know what I mean? We'll give that a try too. You want to get what's on the paper, but he would also give us opportunities to to say it a couple more takes and say it some different ways. And some of those takes, ended up in the final, to his credit, because a lot of directors do not do that, especially directors that also wrote the piece. I've worked with other writer-directors, and they're not always as giving as Reggie was. Right. I've worked with writer-directors that hold on to every last syllable like the crypt keeper. You know what I mean? Like every last fucking word you wrote can't be changed. Right. Like, get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Reggie.
Shout out to Reggie.
He was definitely like that. And I think that was great for all of us. It was a learning experience for all of us.
It's dope because at that time we had, a movie like Disorderlies with the Fat Boys that had came
Great
previously.
movie.
Great movie.
Loved it.
We also had Crush Groove with Run DMC and LL Cool J
Great movie.
and Russell Simmons and Def Jam. And we had Breaking. We had freaking Beat Street. We had Wild Style.
Wow.
And then we had House Party, which again, I'm going to go back to Robin Harris. Robin Harris being synonymous for Bebe's Kids. He was just iconic. And to have him be your dad.
Right.
By the way, I just want to throw this out there. For all those kids that were into skate at the time, skate culture, the fact that you were wearing Vision streetwears, I don't know if you saw that, Seth, in the movie. He's wearing Vision streetwear sneakers. Mark Gonzalez.
Was I really?
Sneakers. You were. You
Holy
were.
smokes.
I noticed
Didn't
that.
remember.
No, I
You
didn't.
saw those, Seth?
I know what you're talking about. They were like high tops.
The high top, and they had a black, black like covering here.
Yeah.
I noticed,
Yeah.
and then on the side it said Vision streetwear.
Wow, you're good. You are the king of cakes, man.
Yes, sir. I noticed that.
Yeah, I didn't. You know what? Honestly, I didn't give that much thought, which I think kind of worked out because the opposite of play was extremely meticulous.
right.
With his, you know what I mean,
Mhm.
which is good because I think that's was mine was just I'm just kind of flopping around kind of thing.
But
you know
you
what I
put
mean?
it together well because even the watch you were rocking,
Right.
I don't know if it was a G-Shock or a Swatch watch at that time.
Yeah. Might have been. Yeah, might have been a Swatch. You know,
Yeah,
Swatches were hot.
Yeah,
back
it was
then.
really cool.
Right. Well, all right. Once again, from House Party come Giants. The costume designer for House Party is none other than Ruth E. Carter, who, if you look her up now, is winning Oscars for tremendous work. Matter of fact, I think she did the Black
Sinners?
Panther stuff and
Oh,
Sinners,
yeah.
all that. Look up Ruth E. Carter.
Mhm.
All you're going to see now is just big time nominations and awards and excellence. And she started back then as well with us. So if that was, I'm sure those were her suggestions.
Shout out to Ruth.
Yeah, shout out to Ruth. Did not know that.
I
Okay.
noticed that because at that time skate culture was part of my childhood.
Sure.
And hip hop and just attention to detail.
Yeah.
Even your posters on your wall, everything that resembled my bedroom as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, like you writing down your rap before you went to the party so you can have it ready to rock at the party.
That's right.
You know, and I love the detail of like, okay, starts, you get in trouble, fight, blah, blah, blah. Your pops says you're grounded. Then you end up sneaking out. You go to this party. There's a dance battle against females.
Right.
And then there's an MC battle.
Right.
Take us into the house party, what that was like for you. I want to know when you shot that scene, what that feeling was like, because you're an MC and a dancer. So
Right. Okay. So which the dance battle 1st?
Mhm.
Okay. Dance battle was a really long day. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I saw the rehearsal, by the way. They posted it online.
Yeah. That was part of it. You know what? I think initially, you just kind of saw it on the in the script, dance battle, and then I think as we kind of started getting it on its feet, I think Reggie, being a good director, having a good eye, started to see how this could really become a centerpiece of the film, which it became.
For sure.
So Play and I, we had our dance routines from, having been performing on tour and everything. And thankfully, Tisha and AJ were already accomplished dancers on their own and had danced together. So they were able to kind of, whip up a routine. And it just kind of flowed, and we just kind of got it on its feet and started working it out. And as we're working it out, stepwise and sequentially, Reggie is kind of there with the director of photography, just kind of analyzing it and seeing what shots can I get. I mean, I can get a steady cam to do this and make sure we get a shot where it's just their feet so they can get the feet, but they can also get me when I get down on the splits.
Yep.
And you know what I mean? So just analyzing it. And I think it's something that, I don't think anybody could have ever envisioned it would turn out the way that it did because it just turned out like perfect. You know what I mean? It became kind of a symbolic and just a really big part of house party and house party culture and what happened at parties from henceforth.
Missed that.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's what it was, and it was, like I said, a really long day, and we were young, and we were just kind of jumping around, and it's one of those days when I don't think we realized that when we were done that we had really done something that would become iconic.
Right.
But we just kind of put our all into it, and then maybe it did get a little bit special in terms of competition, friendly competition, because they're trying to do their thing. Yep. The ladies are trying to do their thing, and we're trying to do ours as well. But once again, everything was rooted in kind of a family. So everybody wanted everybody to do well.
Well, it was dope because the solidarity amongst female dancers and the male dancers, it just made it feel like this is what hip hop represents. Yeah. And everybody can take a piece of inspiration. How many times did you guys have to do the routine?
I mean, a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And like I said, we do it like this is our first movie, man. We'll do it as many times as he wants to do it, and we're young enough. You know what I'm saying? Reggie's like, Reggie's like, can you do it again? We're like, yeah, sure. We'll do it again, whatever. Now we're just like, I will not. So you it's one take. You better all your lenses. You know what I'm saying? Right? But we was just, yeah, shit, we'll do it. What the fuck else we got to do? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And we're just like, we don't know. This is our first movie. This could be our last movie. So we're not gonna say no to anything. There's nothing we're not gonna try. There's nothing that that was asked of us that we weren't going to try, and I think that once again it became a good thing. And if you remember at the end of the battle, everybody's dancing together, everybody back, and that's all it was. It was a friendly battle. And now let's get back to getting some, I mean, type stuff. Let's get back on. Let's get back on message here.
Besides your moment.
Mm-hmm.
Creating that beautiful chapter of dance history in movies, for you, what stands out as one of your favorites? Like for example, we talked to Boogaloo Shrimp about his moment with the broom breaking.
Ooh, I mean, in that dance sequence?
No, just I'm talking about in general. I just want to know from your perspective, like what was a go-to in a movie? It could be Gene Kelly, it could be Fred Astaire.
Okay, all right. You know what I was big on back then, because there weren't a lot of rap dancers doing the splits a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And
James
I like
Brown? James Brown?
Yeah, James Brown, but actually even previous to that, I was a big Nicholas Brothers fan.
Oh, yeah, me too.
So I liked the Nicholas Brothers because I mean, obviously they were spectacular, and nothing that I did or we did was on that level, but they certainly were an inspiration.
Yeah.
And it was something that I like to do. I like to go into like a double spin and then boom, drop into a split real quick. And then, like I said, when you're young, you can just bounce back up, and you know what I mean? You can do a couple splits in a row and come up. Sometimes you hit the split and then you pull yourself up, look real fly like that. But yeah, I was a big splits guy because not a lot of people were doing it. Like cats like Scoob and Scrap would do it. But at that time it was something I thought was kind of unique. And obviously we're doing modern hip hop dances, but it was little kind of an homage to a Nicholas Brothers or a James Brown, as you said, to kind of throw a little old flavor in and into this gumbo that we have that's new. You know what I'm saying?
I think in the first time I saw the MR2 or the Atomic Drop was in that movie when you did that.
Right.
Because it's like we saw it in music videos, but to see it on a film.
Right. Well, I don't think we did it in House Party, but we did it in
Class Act?
No, we did it in Rolling with Kid and Play video. That's when we did it. And we would do it every night on tour. I mean, every night we would do that. And it was easy back then, but over the years that shit got harder.
It did.
It was
Try to do that shit.
Yeah,
now.
It was one of those things as I was getting older, like I would do it on my birthday every year to see if I could do it. Then after a while I was like, nah, I'm gonna kill myself. This shit is over with.
It's done.
I only started doing it in a pool. That way nobody gets
easy.
hurt.
Easy
Nobody
in the
gets
pool.
hurt.
We skipped over Robin Harris.
Okay.
I want to stay there because Robin Harris, Bebe's Kids.
Yeah.
I mean, he had such classic lines, Eraserhead, all these like just his timing and his comedy. Let's Let's give him a snapshot of what it was like working with Robin Harris, because
Right.
I want to really give him his flowers too.
Right. Well, Robin Harris was obviously a great entertainer, great comedic mind, and I got to know him very well because we actually spent a lot, because we spent so much time together
Pops.
as father and son
Mhm.
on the film, and as people know, there's always a lot of downtime when you're shooting stuff like that, as they're getting the cameras ready and whatnot. So we would talk a lot, and he was just a really, really, really wonderful person that was a real person.
Yeah.
I got to know him as a real person. I got to know him, like when his son was younger, and he was, he had concerns about being a father and stuff like that. And he was older than us. He had us by about 10 years or so. So we always we looked to him for guidance. And he gave it to us. Back then we would get a couple different things he did. We would get paid in paychecks on this film.
Mm-hmm.
On a Friday, we'd get a paycheck. And so one Friday, we all got our checks, and Robin came up to me. He says, "Hey, what do you get ready to do?" I said, "I don't know. I got to go somewhere and cash this fucking check. What's up?" He said, "Come with me. Come with me." So I come with him. He used to drive this 5.0. Had the,
Mustang
5.0. He had a gun under the seat. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
typical. You know what I mean? He be talking shit to cops on the way. He sees some black cops that he knows. He's like, you know what I mean? He be talking mad shit. Go to Winchell's, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Fuck out of here.
Winchell's. That's how far you're going back.
You know what I'm saying? Ain't they missing you over? You missing your shift over at Winchell's? Some bitch. Yeah, type shit. So, so I'm like, where we going? He said, chill. So he takes me to the bank where he used to work as a security guard. And that's where he wants us to go cash these checks. He want to show him. He want a big time on him. So I'm like, yeah, motherfucker. I told you. And I'm rolling in here with kids, motherfucker. So we went in there and we cashed our checks the bank where he used to work because he wanted to let them know. I told you. Yep. I told you, motherfuckers, I was going to be somebody, man. So, he was great to work with. And once again, like little stuff like, there was one particular scene where he I think it's a scene where he grounds me and everything, but then there's like a tender moment where he's supposed to put his hand on my shoulder, you know what I mean? And I had a suggestion, so I suggested it to him and Reggie, and I said instead of going for the shoulder, I said because normally a son, you pat your son on the head. Mm-hmm. But I got this big fucking hair and shit. So I told him, I said, yo, make like you're gonna pat the hair, and then and then go to the shoulder, like this fucking hair and shit. You know what I'm saying? So if you watch that particular scene, you'll see like he says something like hurt my feelings. So he goes, look, son. You know what I mean? So little, you know what I mean? Just little choices. Little choices. That to your point, when you're talking about like, you admire the
aesthetics,
the detail,
details,
you know what I'm saying? That's the attention to detail, that stuff. And to me, people always ask, "Oh, man, you watch your old movies?" And I said, "Yeah, man. When those joints come on, man, you flipping around, you see them. I'll watch them for like 15, 20 minutes, but I'll be looking for stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I look for stuff that you guys wouldn't know that I was there for. And it doesn't even have to be me in the scene because like I said, we were there, we made suggestions. We would make suggestions to Martin, like, hey, Martin, try like this and say this. Because we want him to win. Mm-hmm. When Martin is in the movie and he wins, we win. Yeah. When Kid and Play win, we win. When Robin wins, we win. When John Witherspoon is next door yelling and cussing, we win. You know what I mean? And that's the type of atmosphere that not only that we had on House Party, the original House Party, but any movie that Kid and Play was starring in. And, the movies that we starred in, ask anybody that worked on there. We were all about everybody getting their opportunity, man. If we got you up in there, particularly if we angled for you to be a part of that film, man, we were going to let you shine. We wasn't going to hold you back. We were going to make suggestions. I want you to win. And that's the type of atmosphere that we always had because, and this, any production It starts at the top. The stars dictate their attitude and their energy dictates the vibe on the set.
Definitely.
And it affects creativity and it just affects the atmosphere. And I do not work. I refuse to stuff that I'm starring in. If I'm at the top of the bill, if Kid and Play are at the top of this, there's going to be a positive, fun, creative energy. People are going to want to come work on a Kid and Play project. I won't have it any other way. So that's definitely, and I learned that on the house party set. Like I said, everything was mad love, and I did want to jump back because I think you was getting ready to talk about it, because after we talked about the dance battle, maybe you wanted to talk about the rap battle.
I did, yeah. Go
See
ahead.
that?
Yeah,
See that?
I like that. Call back.
Call it. See that?
Yes,
We're going to
sir.
get you on stage,
Let's
baby.
go.
We're going to get you
Let's
on
go.
stage. We're going to get you
Call
on that
back.
comedy stage.
Yes.
Right. So you have the dance battle, then you have the rap battle. Once again, this is just words on a page. You know what I'm saying? I don't think if Reggie Hudlin is on a lie detector, I don't think he knew that it would be what it was. And it just says rap battle. So you got to figure that out. So that's Herbie making the beat, and this is, look, and we got to do this. Look, House Party was shot in 5 weeks. Okay, wow. 6 weeks tops. Okay, mind you.
But that's how that was. I mean, we talked about the Friday movie. They shot that in like a month too.
Well, New Line Cinema. Once again, they don't give you a lot of money. They don't give the bros a lot of money, and they expect you to do it double time.
Right.
So, all right, so fine. Once again, this is our first movie. We're like, whatever. And so it's literally like, all right, rap battle. We need this, in like 2 days. You know what I mean? Shit like that.
Yeah. Like,
it's Wednesday. We're gonna shoot this on Friday.
Figure it out.
Boom. Herbie, Herbie does the beat. And I'm figuring it out. And I'm just like, all right, well, they're figuring it, all right, it'll be a back and forth. We'll each have 2 rhymes. Him, him, me, him, me. And the vibe was, and this is, I'm sure this was Reggie's instructions at the time. We want Play to leap out front. You Play's lumping you up, and then at the end you pull it out, and you're victorious at the end. So okay, fine. So that's how I wrote it. So I wrote his. I wrote mine. He's lumping me up. He's killing me. The crowd is the crowd is laughing, and you know what I mean? This is by design. And then boom, bottom of the 9th.
Shohei Ohtani.
Sorry, right?
I know you're a New Yorker, but Shohei Ohtani.
But that's how it. This is what had to happen. This was what had to happen script wise.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So and Play is playing the role. At that point we're playing roles. And once again, as in the dance battle, we come together.
Camaraderie.
We come together. This is a battle that always ends in positive respect,
yep.
Mutual respect, togetherness, if you will. Now we back. Rap battle's over. Now we back. Now we back to girl chasing. You know what I'm saying? Type shit.
Well, that's the beauty of that time period, is that even now seeing b-boy jams, how they can be these freaking intense battles, but at the end of the battle, everybody daps each other, says congratulations, and the winner is very respectful. The person that's defeated will go shake hands and be like, yo, great shit. But that's what we were built on. We were built on that camaraderie. And we left it on wax, or we left it on the dance floor.
Right. Yeah. And then
to
the left. And then people are getting shot in the butt.
Right. Ooh. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, look, we went through those rap battles back in the days on wax. Kid and Play had a thing with Vanilla Ice. We went back and forth a couple times.
You guys had a beef with Vanilla Ice?
What?
Back in the days, yeah. Back in the days.
What was that about?
Well, you know what? I'm not quite sure how it started, but we heard he on his first album he had a record. I forgot the name of the record, but it was on his first album that was very successful, and he had a line in one of the songs that ended with something. What did you say? And I could dance better than any Kid or Play. Right. And I was like, well, I was like, that's a direct shot. Right. I mean, like Stevie Wonder could see that. Yeah. That's you know what I'm saying? I believe there's beef.
So then you guys came back with a record.
Yeah, we did a record. We did a record because we also I'll explain. We also had beef with Luke at that time too. I'll explain.
Uncle Luke?
Uncle Luke. Yeah, I'll explain that afterwards. But we dealt with Vanilla Ice and Luke on a song that we did that Pete Rock produced. It was called Next Question, where we styled it like it was a press conference. And, hey, man, what you gonna do? Vanilla Ice talking about you, da, da, da. So, I had a little rap about Vanilla Ice that wasn't very complimentary. You know what I'm saying? And then I had one about Luke and everything like that. But I mean, I've been touring with Vanilla Ice like the last 12 years,
right?
Man.
You guys
on I Love That. Yeah, that's
together,
like we laugh about it now. But
that's dope.
But we left it. We left it just like
was that the last shot that was fired? Your response? That was it after that?
Yeah, that was it after that. Yeah. Because I don't think anybody was paying attention to it but us. It was just like Kid and Plays battling Vanilla Ice. Who the fuck cares? What is that? What is that? The Powder Puff Bowl? Like, what is that? The Marshmallow Bowl? What is that?
They're gonna outdance each other.
Yeah, what are they gonna out-split each other? Kid and Vanilla Ice. Who's whiter? I don't know.
Oh man, sorry guys.
Can we jump in a little bit to class?
Wait, real quick. I don't want you to miss this one because this is the Luke beef because this is
okay.
This is funny. So we found ourselves in beef with Luke. And we heard him because he used to have these songs on some of the Luke records, the 2 Live Crew records. They were called I Ain't Bullshitting. He had I Ain't Bullshitting Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. Like each individual record he had. So this album he had Part 1. The next album he had Part 2. Da 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 da. So I guess we were on this old school show on BET called Teen Summit. Mm-hmm. We were on there with Salt-N-Pepa, and they were talking about I think they were talking about like booty rap and all this kind of stuff. And so Salt-N-Pepa were out in the front. We were in the back. We were goofing off. We weren't even paying attention. Mm-hmm. But we were kind of on the scene when Salt and them were talking about, hey, we don't really appreciate that. And then, they were saying as women, they found it distasteful and this and that. And so I guess Luke figured that we sitting with him that that we co-signed it. We ain't saying nothing against it. So he kind of lumped us with them. So he had something to say about us on one of them records, like, some really negative, they whack, this and that. So we dealt with them with Luke on that Next Question record. I had a rhyme about him and blah, 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 and this and that. Some stuff. So then the record after that Luke made after that to go against our response was called Pussy Ass Kid and Hoe Ass Play. And then I was like, we need to calm the beef down. We will never win this. Like, we didn't even cuss at that time. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck I'm supposed to do with that? Pussy ass kid and hoe ass play. Oh my God.
Mr. Murgatroyd.
How do we respond? But so we killed that beef. We're all really good friends now. So
that's dope. Speaking about pussy, how did the full force
great story.
Trio come to be in that line like I smell pussy?
Let me tell you something. All praise is due to Full Force.
Full Force, yeah.
And all praise is due to Reggie Hudlin once again for being a good and giving director and knowing when to take the creativity of his actors. Originally, those roles were cast pretty generically. Some bullies. Like the same bullies that's Full Force kind of played in Crush Groove,
right.
If you remember.
Yes.
Nothing to him, just kind of bullying. Mm-hmm. And Bow-Legged Lou, the ipso facto leader of Full Force, had an idea, and he totally flipped it. And he came to Reggie and said, "Hey, man, I think these guys should have like a funny, kooky kind of flair to them. Just don't have them be just monsters and with no personality.
Right.
Let's make them kind of funny and goofy,
more
but also menacing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So they came up with all that stuff, all that I smell pussy, all of that kick your fucking ass, all of that stuff, they created it.
That was genius.
They created all of that, and Reggie thankfully allowed it to be infused into what we now know as House Party, man.
Mm-hmm.
All of that stuff, man. Anything, damn near everything funny that came out of their mouths, they came up with it.
House Party 1 was iconic. Well, how much did it gross in the box office?
A little under 30 million, made for 2.5.
That's a good ROI, is what we call that.
Talk about win.
I mean,
in that time period?
You're talking about 1990.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Right? $2 million, you get 30.
Ask ChatGPT. That means it was billions. No, it was great return, and what it allowed us to do was make House Party 2.
Mm-hmm. The college years, right?
The Pajama Jam.
Jam.
You know?
Pajama Jam.
Yeah, I mean, and which was interesting because, nobody made a lot of money on House Party.
There was no back end on that.
No, not for me. I mean, not for the actors. I think I might have made the most, and it wasn't a lot, but they didn't have an option on us.
Mm-hmm.
So when it blew up, they had to deal with us like in a whole nother way. So they had to pay
You made
us.
up for it on the second part.
Yeah, we did a lot better. We did a lot better. We did a lot better moving forward. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure New Line didn't anticipate that it was, maybe they thought it'd do something. I don't think they thought it was going to become a cultural phenomenon. I mean, and to be honest, maybe they should have, because they were in the franchise business. They were known at that time for making the Freddy Krueger movies. Yeah. That's all they did at that time. So, and which they did quite well with.
House Party 2.
House Party 2.
House Party 2 was, I would have to say it was fun, but the thing that I was missing was Robin Harris had passed, right?
Robin Harris had passed, which was a big loss.
Yeah, huge loss.
Huge loss. There's no telling what, you know what I'm saying? How that could have been instituted. And look, a lot of things different on House Party 2.
Mm-hmm.
No Reggie Hudlin.
Yeah. Who was that?
Reggie Hudlin.
Who was the director?
The directors were George Jackson and Doug McHenry.
Okay.
Who were known at that time for doing New Jack City. Now, very talented gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
George Jackson has since passed on. Great guy. Doug McHenry's still alive. Great guy. They kind of went in a different direction. You know what I mean? Kind of slapsticky at college. And, look, House Party 2 made money. It'll be known. It has its own things that it's known for, particularly the Pajama Jammy Jam. You know what I mean? If I do one more Pajama Jammy Jam in life, you know what I'm saying?
It's true.
We'll always make a dollar off of a Pajama Jammy Jam, kind of connection or what have you. And, I remember years ago, the rock, everybody down to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was trying to get them damn pajamas and stuff like that, and it's been famous for all that stuff. But I think House Party 2, where was the soul? Where was the soul? And then again, it's always tough. That second one is rarely better than the first. Yeah. But it did its thing. It had things that it was known for. It had a really good soundtrack.
Yeah.
We did what we could, but it wasn't House Party.
That's Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody?
Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody
was
in Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody was in House Party 2.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember Ralph Tresvant's Yo Baby, Yo Baby, Yo. Yeah. And then Tony, I don't know what you come to do. I don't know what you come to do. So, good soundtrack, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We toured behind that. And like I said, the Pajama Jammy Jam connection has always been strong to this day.
Right.
Then you get to 3. And 3 was, you know what? 3, I think the mindset was, once again, you have a different director. Shout out to Eric Meza, who was a great director and a great friend. He had his take on it as well. And I think we tried to go a little bit raw, a little more raw with it.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, kind of the way we did back in the days, highlighting the dancers and getting funky. We had a whole lot of comedians in there.
Yeah.
We had Joe Torre and Eddie Griffin and David Edwards and Bernie Mac. You know, so kind of throwing it in on that tip, giving opportunities and stuff like that, and with the Bernie Mac trying to kind of bring back that Robin Harris element because he had that vibe. Yeah. So we played him like he was his brother, my uncle type vibe, and Bernie was great. So once again, House Party 3, a lot of people liked it. Like I said, it was a little bit more raw. We got TLC in there. Bernie Mac was great. Had a lot of memorable moments.
Immature was in that too, right?
Immature was in there doing their thing. Yeah. They were great. That added another level to it. So it made actually 3 made more than 2, and had its other things that it was known for as well. So that after that was it for us on the House Party tip. They kept going, but we were cool. And actually in between 2 and 3. In between 2 and 3, we did Class Act, which is actually the movie the movie that has really kind of aged well after all these years.
That's a top 10 movie in my life.
Yeah,
I love Class Act, bro. Yeah. They don't get enough love and enough flowers.
Well, actually, it does. I mean, you know what I mean? Credit. After all these years, it does.
I mean, it depends on who you talk to, but across the board, I don't think it gets enough universal love.
So many fans. Yeah, but that's So once again. And this is the thing, and you have to deal with it as an artist as well. And that's why it's always important, no matter what we do, no matter how high we get, we always have to have that connection. Because the fans will tell you, and they'll tell you, they'll give you the truth. That's where you really know. Facts. Not the critics. Not the critics that omit Kid and Play and Black Eyed Peas when they're going through these lists. I get tired of these fucking lists. You know what I'm saying? I hate to admit it, but you know what I'm saying? But the thing that makes me not choke a critic is when I go out and I'm outside, I hear from the fans.
Yep.
And I hear what they say, and I hear them tell me about a Class Act, and I hear them tell me about, I hear them give us the props that we've earned.
Yeah.
So that makes it easy to overlook when we get overlooked, and it actually shows me that those things are actually meaningless. But to your point, Class Act has aged like a fine wine, and fans continually come up and talk about, hey man, I know everybody likes House Party, but man, Class Act, that was my thing, and it's definitely Play's favorite movie. He goes on record nonstop saying Class Act is his favorite Kid and Play movie. And once again, we had a blast. Once again, another first-time director. Kid and Play has never worked with a director that wasn't a first-time director. By the time we got to our 3rd and 4th movie, we're like, we know, hey, move the camera over here. We got, you know what I'm saying? We had about as much experience as a director. So, which is always cool. I mean, working with a first-time director each time is an experience. But, we were flexing.
With Class Act, what was your favorite scene in that movie?
I would say there was a scene where I run into Plays on a date.
Yeah.
Plays on a date with Karen Parsons, I think.
Yeah, on a dinner date.
Yeah, he's on a dinner date, and I come in there, and this is after we've kind of switched identities.
And you punk him.
I kind of punk him in.
That was dope. Shout out to Karen Parsons.
Shout out to Karen Parsons. Yeah. Shout out to Play.
Shout out to Play.
Play was, Play's funny when. Oh no! All right, that was a good scene because I kind of got the best of him, and tell him, But let me tell you the scene that I didn't like. All right, there's a scene where we're sitting on a bench. We're outside. This is downtown LA, freezing cold, by the way. 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. You know them. You know those shoots that you know what I'm saying. Oh, it looked great. You have no fucking idea. It was
shivering.
It's fucking brick out there, right? So this is the scene where he's kind of he's teaching me what to say and how to, you know what I mean, and kind of doing stuff. And then I get stuff wrong, and he's hitting me in the back of the head, right? When
it's
I get
cold as fuck.
Yeah, but this dude is really hitting me, man. And so. And I'm like, yo, dude, do you gotta hit me? Do you have to hit me that hard? Yo, man, I'm just trying to make it, realistic. All right, so man. Nigga, if you hit me in my head one more time like that, stop it, man. This motherfucker was trying to go for it, man. Like, taking advantage. So that was my least favorite scene. I had a fucking headache after that goddamn scene, man. But once again, just a lot of fun. Randall Miller, shout out to Randall. He was our director. It was his first movie. And just a blast, man. And you know, people remember stuff like that. People remember that car that I was driving that had all the hydraulics.
The hydraulic on
Lucille
the
was the car and all that stuff. So once again, really cool, and you know, great relationships came up out of there.
Another thing after House Party 1 that people were getting used to was you went back to your Jamaican roots and you had dreadlocks.
I did.
What was that like for you?
Well, you know,
because people were so, you know, accustomed to it.
Yeah, man. And this is the thing, man. I've always gone with my instinct, good or bad. And from where I stand, it's been mostly good.
Yeah.
I always tell people, like, go with your gut, because even if you're wrong, you're right. Because you went with your gut. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even if you're wrong, even if it turns out even if it turns out wrong, you were right. Go with your gut. Even if you're wrong, you're right. So when it came time over the years to change my hairstyle, look, it was my instinct that said grow it like that in the first place. Nobody was growing high tops that high back then. People would have fades. They would call them a fade or a Philly or a cameo cut. You know, but it wasn't that high. But when I had mine, it was getting a reaction even when it was small. So my gut was just like, yo, just keep letting it grow. Keep letting it grow. Keep letting it grow. Because at that time, Play and I were kind of getting up, trying to get up out the muck and the competition of New York. The New York hip-hop scene was so fucking competitive at that time. We needed every little advantage to set us apart so that they could get to the music. You know what I mean? If we looked different and our style was different and we danced different, and maybe that would get people to kind of listen to the music, which we were very, very confident in. Yeah. So it was my gut that said, grow it like that. But it was also my gut that told me when it was time to change. So when it was time to change, when we were doing the movie Class Act, I wasn't going to have the high top at all in Class Act. But Warner Brothers pitched a fucking fit and threatened to sue. Because they said, hey, man, we signed Kid and Play. It's like we signed the imagery, we signed this and that. So we had to compromise. We compromised was I started in the high top and then went to the twist during the changeover when I become a tough guy. So we compromised, which was cool because after that film, and this we shot in 91, 92, I never wore the high top again, which was fine. You know what I mean? Yeah. I knew, look, what am I supposed to be walking around with a gray high top? You'd love that, wouldn't you? Stop it. You know what I'm saying? But my gut said, it's time to move on. The high top that imagery will never die. I did so many music videos with it, movies with it. It'll be fine. When I see it on the youngins, I applaud it. You know, it'll always live. I had to at that time, I had to show that, hey, it's not just hair. It's this. It's this. It's all of this. It's us. It's not just that. That caught your attention. This kept you. This kept you around.
I concur. I feel the same way. The long-haired Asian guy from the Black Eyed Peas, and I'm not even Asian. Remember the long-haired guy from the Black Eyed Peas? So I had to shed that part of me too to get to where I'm at now. You know, like yes.
I mean, was that troubling for you? I mean, was it your idea? Was it suggested to you? Because I had all kind of people telling me, "Yo, keep the high top, keep the." I'm like, no. I'm like, no. I was like, you didn't get me here, and you're not going to keep me here. And ever since then, you know, like I said, to your point, I had the twist, which eventually turned into dreads. So then I had the dreads, and then I was the first guy. I was the first guy to cut out the hole in the caps and rock the dreads out the hat. Nobody was doing that.
It's true.
Before our girls were doing that. You know what I'm saying? Look at Mary J. Blige videos. Girls, I was like, yo, I had all my hats, had them tailored with a hole in the top so the dreads can fall out there. And that's what I wore in House Party 3. So just something else, something new, something different, something me, not me. That not old me. I did that. Yeah. This is new me. I dare you to follow me. We used to take pages from people like Prince and Madonna. Like, yo, I dig it.
Reinvent yourself.
Yeah, you dug that. And that's dope. Check this out. If you like that, you're going to love this because this is where I'm at right now. This is how we rolling right now. So, you know, it's like anything, going with your gut, musically, creatively, aesthetically. We've always done that. I've done that. Play has done that. You know, Play has always been a great source of inspiration and motivation in terms of where we needed to go image-wise, you know, as a group. And you know, I'm happy to say a lot of that stuff is kind of rubbed off, you know, because when we were growing up as kids, you know, Play was, you know, super clean. You know, he's actually somebody I aspired to look like. You know, when I first we were growing up in the neighborhood before we got real tight, I used to see him at the park. I'm like, this motherfucker's crispy, man. What the fuck is he doing, man? And you know, so that type of thing, you know, we luckily that's the type of thing we always had and uplifted each other with that.
That's dope. Speaking about music, I want to before we go, I want to acknowledge the fact that we
need to do a part 2. We got too much to talk about.
Yo, you are a survivor. You are a person that went through something just like myself. I don't want to get too deep into it, but I'm just honored to have you because you mean so much to me just on a friendship level. The fact that you went through your battle and you were able to use that moment for momentum to write this amazing new song that you just dropped called Tin Man. I want people to stream it on all streaming services. It's got a beautiful sentiment of your story, the medicine, the good medicine that you needed to be able to express yourself, to tell that story, to advocate for those soldiers that we lost in hip hop, but also letting people know that you are okay, you're doing well, you're
doing great.
On comedy stages.
Yes.
Is there any places where we can see it?
Yeah. You know what? I'm getting back up there. You know, been working on the heart transplant material. You know what I mean? You know, that stuff.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
it's tough after you've had a heart transplant. You know, it's tough. You think about it, and I was scared. I had never had another person's organ inside me before.
Yeah.
Fingers don't count.
Jesus Christ. All right.
How's your father?
On that note.
Is this thing on? Is this thing on? I had a heart transplant over here. No, look, shout out to the great people at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. Last August, I had a heart transplant. And as of today, I'm feeling wonderful. Like about 8 months out, I feel great. And so, as Taboo said, I was inspired to put out this new song, Tin Man, that basically not only talks about the fragility of life, but it also gives it an optimistic flavor, and also just acknowledges that hip hop as a culture is aging, and we have to acknowledge that and respect those that have come before us, and also look to the future very optimistically, and the fact that we are still here. There's so much more to create. Taboo, you know how I'm such a big fan of yours, and you know the way that you've traveled your journey over the years. I mean, you know, in terms of being a survivor, you know, I definitely learned lessons from you on that regard, and you know, just in terms of creating and finding your way outside of something that was very successful. You know what I mean? We're similar in that regard.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And we love that. And we love that entity that we belong to this day. But there's other things that we can do separate from it. I love how you stand out. I really admire what you did most recently, your involvement with the fires.
Yes, sir.
And the concert and the music and everything that you did. You put yourself out there. And that's for me, that's something that I aspire to as a transplant recipient. That's stuff I'm doing right now, along with Cedars, along with the American Heart Association. So you'll see me doing lots of stuff like that, and also just trying to get the word out to our people specifically to keep an eye on your health. Don't get to the point where you need a transplant. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm lucky that I caught my situation in time and was able to be fixed. But you know, we tend to ignore signs, and I know I did on my journey. And you just kind of slough them off to, oh man, you know, it's nothing. There's nothing to it. We just keep pushing until you get a diagnosis, and maybe sometimes it's too late. So that's part of the thing that drives me to this day. And I want to keep creating and keep being funny and keep doing kid and play stuff and keep doing kid stuff. And it's going to be a 10-man summer.
Let's go. On that note, give it up for Christopher Reed, a.k.a. Kid.
Hey!
That's right, y'all. It's Taboo Nawasha, and I hope you enjoyed geeking out with me and going straight into geek mode. For more information, for more videos, subscribe, like, and comment. Share it with your friends. Much love. There it is.